Yes, sir. What's going on, everybody? It is 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here in New York City on January 3rd, 2024. Jeez. I know every year I say, I can't believe it's a new year, but I mean, really, I cannot believe. I feel like we just had 2023 New Year. Anyway, we don't want to hear all that banter. How's everybody doing? Today was a pretty interesting day. Two things happened. We had the Fed minutes release, which is basically just like a rundown of what took place at the meeting. You like some dude or some gal sits there and records who says what and who had the vegetable cream cheese on their bagel and what do they take in their coffee and stuff like that. But the other important cool thing that happened was Bryant, the creator of QTA, otherwise known as Quant Trading App, announced that there's going to be access to the gold channel for free up until the 14th. So if you've been hearing me talk about QTA and how I use it, or other people in various groups, what's up, Evan? What's going on, man? Now's the time. Now's the time to kind of get your hands in there, get dirty, get going with it. But on the back of that, I wanted to make sure that people that had any questions if you're trying this, I want to make sure that we're applying it correctly. So I know some of you I threw an invite to. Some of you are in little groups that I'm in. Other people are from the QTA, the public chat area. So let's get it going. Up is the Tesla, the old Tesla. Everyone knows. I was just talking to CeeLo today about it. No, was it CeeLo? No, it was Tesla Theta. Sorry, we were discussing how much pain Tesla has. This is just all theory, by the way. This isn't. I've been known to look down first before up. Some people would say it that way. I just happen to be able to play the downside easier, so I'm usually looking for a downside. Plus, that whole saying, there's the staircase up, elevator down, and I like the bearish moves better. But anyway, on Tesla, we are in this upper channel here, as you can see, top and bottom, and we just decided to start coming down on this end. 230 is the next target. Once we hit 230, there's going to be another decision to be made, and then from there, you play it down to the next level, level by level, similar to how I've used QTA. So let's pull some of that up, since we're talking about it, or since I'm talking about it. And first of all, let's shut this off. And doop. And we'll switch this screen over to here. Matt, what's going on? I've utilized the Thinkorswim OI script. What else could I benefit from in the gold channel? Wow, it's almost like I hired you to ask that question. No, I'm serious. But perfect question, and we'll get going as soon as I flip it to this, and we'll go over to the in the Discord. There's the gold side, and there is the public side. And on the public side, or the gold side, on the gold side, you have access to options data. On that options data, you'll have things like the SPY 0DTE. And what that is a feed, right? Let's make this super big. Bam, right? It's a feed. It's every 15 minutes or every 16 minutes on some, or some I think are every half an hour. I think the weeklies are. You'll get a GEX chart. Now, these are towards the end of the day. Let's go to the beginning of the day where there's more data. Keep going up, Doc. Keep going up. So just as a reminder, the way this type of data works is that you'll have, how do I do that? Hang on a second. There we go. GEX gamma exposure, right? Using gamma exposure, the feed tells you where the highest strike points are. And market makers a lot of people think market makers, oh, they're just out to cause max pain so that we all lose our money, and they drive around in their Benzos and Lamborghinis. But in actuality, market makers create liquidity in our markets so that we have the ability to pick up the phone, and on the other end, someone takes that deal. It might not be the exact price that we want, but there's gonna be a deal to be made. So in other words, a lot of people think when I buy a call, there's someone on the other end of that who's selling me that call, or vice versa, an option contract, I'm saying. In reality, it's the market maker in between that. They'll take that contract, they're buying or selling it from you, and then they'll find someone else on the other end to pick up the other end of it. In the meantime, it's kept on the books. It's on an open book, so you have open interest, and you can see that on the options chain. That's a little more easier to understand. If we click back to here, if we open up an options chain, you'll see that you'll have a list of open interest, delta, the gamma, the theta, and the volume. The open interest is what we're going to be focusing on, right? Because when you have a high open interest, you'll notice that the price action tends to go toward that area. Not every single time. There's other factors that are involved. But that's what we're focusing on when we say check the GEX feed or look at the GEX chart. It's that type of breakdown of data and information that we can then apply to other. Okay, let's get back to that. I need someone to help me with editing. That's for sure. Oh, okay. Let's get rid of my face. Turn that off. So the idea of what we're going to be looking at are the GEX charts. Now I close that. The GEX feeds. So every 15 minutes you'll have a new feed, and we'll go on SPY 0DTE. This is 0DTE stands for 0 days to expiration, in case no one knew that. The idea is that the higher the GEX, the more attraction the price action will be towards that. It's almost like it wants to just to check that off, to been there, done, been here, done that. Okay, check next waypoint, so to speak. Then you have the positive side. The positive is the green, obviously, and the navy on this part is the negative. When this navy turns red, that just means that the net overall GEX is negative. When you have negative GEX, that means there's higher volatility in the market. So what I look for in the morning is the absolute GEX and the max pain. Those two are levels you want to look for when using this particular data. You want to look for the absolute GEX and max pain, because absolute GEX is an attractant, right? It's attractive to the price action. The calculations that go behind it mainly suggest that that's where price wants to go. Again, based on other factors, when you want to compare it to your own charts, when you want to compare it to the quant data charts, if you're already on the gold side, that you have access to that. So you want to kind of balance out, and you want to look for confluence, right? Confluence just means there's a couple different data points, or a few different data points that are coming together as one, and that's when the real signals start going off. Right here we have confluence between the absolute GEX and max pain at 472. Is that this morning? January 3rd. Yeah, this is before market open. I like to wait till after market opens and really get some new data in there. So right at 9:30, this is from the past 15 minutes, and you'll notice that we'll have a navy GEX on the negative side. And now, as soon as the market gets a little juice behind it and gets the motors running, 15 minutes into market open, we have much more negative GEX. Now we can clearly see that it's red, and now the absolute GEX has moved. I call it jumping. It's probably a little offensive to call it jumping. That insinuates that it's constantly moving around, but it doesn't. It moves based on where the data is. Right here we have 470 absolute GEX, and also it's on the highest GEX strike, right? And also you can look behind it. You'll have your put volume, that's the orange one, and the call volume is the blue. So we have the put volume, the highest put volume, and the absolute GEX, and the highest GEX strike. Now it opened right at 470, so we didn't get to see it travel there, but we can use this as an example. And I'm going to pull up on the other screen the SPY so we can know what we're looking at here. So as it opened, I think it opened a little below 470 or at 470 to travel up to the high end of 470, almost to 471. And that brings us to another good point. How do you know where the action stops? How do you know where, because the action, everything that goes up must come down, everything goes down usually goes back up. So how do we know where it stops? And if we just zoom in on this one here, to see how it's actually, this is not that close, but the second highest GEX bar or the GEX strike is, you want to see if it's very close in the amount, in the value, you'll notice that it easily will move to the next one. So let's say, for instance, this 469 GEX strike was equal just about 130 million in volume here. If that was fairly equal in size, I would like to strengthen the possibility of the price action continuing a move to the 469. Now it's not close where it's matching, but it is the second highest on the chart, and by far, right? The next one, the third one, is almost 25% less, and then beyond that one, it's way down, right back here. So these are two possibilities. It's not necessarily something that's going to happen, but you want to look out for that. If these had been drop-off points, where like the next one would be all the way down here, it's called a drop-off, a GEX drop-off, where, and I think Joseph, if he's in here right now, he picked up on that right away today, and he was thinking that, okay, once it gets to that drop-off point, it's almost like an about face. And again, you want to compare this with your own charts and other data that you'd be using, but that's just a kind of a basic, a guide, not even a full guide, but just really like a jump point of how to use it. Oh my God, showing my chart screen. Sorry. Thank you for pointing that out. There, see, okay, yeah, sorry about that. So the next GEX strike down is a little further down. If this had been closer, like up to here, I can assume that maybe the 469 would be in play. It is still very high. It's the second highest. So that was, if you look at the price action of the day, it was from 470, and it did start gravitating toward the 469, and I believe it actually entered into the 468 area. So we can follow along the feed, and we can watch the price action live here. The spot price, the spot is the price action, the spot up here. See, it's saying 469.66. Let's see, I think it gets into the 468. Still at 470. What time did it get to? 11 a.m. I passed it. Well prepared, I know. Sorry. So sorry. Okay, so it dipped in between the two feeds. But we can look at the price action, if I could just slide it over real quick. We opened here, we slid down toward the negative GEX, and then we kind of held it there. That was the GEX drop-off. And as we came back up, that was around the Fed minutes. And this is not like a price prediction, but this is just taking data that's already out there and visualizing, putting it in a visual form for us to digest it and apply it the way we become accustomed. Because it's not something that, I try to say that tools are made for other people to use them, and the way they use them might be different than intended, but everyone picks up on a way on how they like to use the best, the easiest, and the most successful. I guess that's really what it comes down to. How is the most successful uses of this? And it's probably because I was looking at earlier in the year, obviously, early in the year, later in last year, that's what I was looking at for examples on price movement. But another great thing about QTA is that you can now take this time to backtest, right? You now have this data available to you. So you can go and you can back test however back you want to go. The data is there. You can go back to your last great trade that you can remember. You can go to that date and find out what the GEX was and if it would help you or not, you know. Let's see. What's up, Dad Trader? Just half listening to cause on another call. I might have to do it again. Okay. Awesome. But I appreciate you coming down. Thanks a lot, guys, by the way. If you're here, and do me a favor, hit the like button. If you're not already, hit the subscribe button. I'm going to try and do this a lot more often in the new year, but especially now during this this fortnight of trials, of this access, the gold channel data access. And, you know, it's not just for SPY, but if we stay on SPY, we have the 0 DTE and now also the SPY weekly. I like to use the 0 DTE and the weekly together to kind of get a more well-rounded snapshot of the action. Now, as you see, as the day went on the SPY 0 DTE, we'll have less and less data. There was not much data to start with. This is a couple days ago, I think, or yesterday. There wasn't much data to go with to begin with because it looked like everyone had their mind made up on where they wanted their action to go, because this is looking at open interest and where the call and put volumes are. And so it's not really a lot to go on, but if you want to get, you know, sometimes if you're trading 0 DTE, I know I'll use tomorrow's expiration date to trade today's action, only because if something goes closer to close, I know I can hold it overnight if I wanted to, and just for any other reason. So to do that, you can pull up the SPY weekly, and now we have like 4 or 5 bars to look at, as opposed to the SPY weekly. Is that popping up? Yeah. You'll have more data. So the ABS here is at 468. The max pain, I think was at 470 on the 0 DT. Right here, it's still at 470. And those are similar waypoints. The absolute GEX, in my experience, tends to be more of a magnet. The max pain is a harder of a support and resistance line, and you can use these and find out yourself. And I do like how the absolute GEX, it does change, and I'll sometimes wait for that change. Like in the gold chat, I think it was yesterday, the first trading day of the year, I mentioned in the morning that I was looking at the Qs, and I was literally waiting for that Qs, the absolute GEX on the Qs to jump. And I think you have access to the gold chat, and I might be mistaken, but I don't think you do. Maybe you don't. Okay. So what I would do is, if you do join, you'll see that I'll post anytime I see setups or anytime I see confluence. And again, the confluence is, the ABS, the absolute GEX, the max pain together, and on the highest strike, or in an area surrounded by highest strikes. I'll post that as something, to keep on your radar. And I've also been looking for the absolute GEX to jump where I'm kind of expecting it to go. Because if I'll notice, and actually we can just go back to the previous day. That's right, we can go back. We have the tools to go back. So we're going to go on the Qs 0 DTE, and I'm going to go to yesterday, and we can actually see the absolute GEX jump and how I was able to trade that, and I took a picture of it. I was waiting for that 1,000% return, and I always preach that, don't wait for a special number, take it what the market gives you, and blah, 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 but here I am. I was waiting for that 1,000%. So in the morning, 9:30, 9:15, there's the first GEX that comes out. We have the Navy GEX right here, and we have some action below where the absolute GEX and max pain is. But then as the market opens, you can see the net negative GEX has shown itself, and now we have a lot more action to choose from. And that absolute GEX jumped down to 404. And as we go throughout the day, where is it that it jumped? Right here. So I had it on my radar. I noticed that there was a lot of lower strikes centered around 400 and the 402 range. There was a lot of strikes there that wasn't really being incorporated, or people weren't really paying attention to it until that absolute GEX jumped to the 400.78 mark. I think that's because the dividends or something. It's kind of annoying, but it is what it is. So now that it jumped down there, we have confluence because it's the absolute GEX and it's on one of the highest strike prices. So when I see that happen, I usually wait for the next feed. That would be the case in this particular trial because you have access to the feed. If you're a full-fledged gold member, you can always jump over to the advanced GEX table that's on the website. You can punch in QQQ, you can punch in the expiration date, and you can generate your own GEX report based on where you want to be trading. So it's not just for 0 DTE or weekly expirations, and I'll pull that up right now since we're talking about it. And this is actually one of my favorite parts of QTA. We'll have right down here, I have one already made up. You can literally generate your own report. And when I say that, it's literally like, don't say literally again, Doc, or I'm cutting you off. You basically, you come down to, where is it? It's under options, advanced GEX. And here's where, if you're doing, a lot of people on the site like to do spreads, like butterflies or diagonals, calendar spreads. Depending on where you think the action is going to go, you choose your spread that way. With here, and let's say you want to go, I don't know, a couple months out, right? How are we going to use Tesla? Also, Tesla is also available in the feed, but that's on a weekly basis. So how are we going to be able to use QTA if I'm investing a couple months from now? I thought it was only 0 DTE. Well, here, it's not. So I'm punching in Tesla. Now all these reports are already clicked. And so let's see what the report generates. This is the report that it generated here, and then it generates this table. And on the table, you'll have little dots where it tells you where you can plot your own charts. But now let's get it into, because this goes all the way up to 2026. Let's uncheck all, and let's say we want to go for the monthly expiration in February. I think it's the 16th. So we'll check everything from now up until the 16th. We'll highlight that. We'll click submit, and it's going to generate my custom report just for me, because I'm special. Oh, I'm special, all right. So the report that's generated now gives me all the data that's incorporated in those strikes alone. And here you have the purple line, that's our absolute GEX friend, and it has confluence on this 250 strike. This 250, I don't know if you can see it, but this is the highest strike. It's all the way up here. And if you hover over it, it tells you exactly the numbers that are behind it. The put volume, the put open interest, the call open interest, the call volume, and the absolute GEX volume. That is pretty interesting to me, right? 250, we're now just below 240. This is the highest one. Now this might be, because this is only one strike, it's also just because it's a popular number. It's a psychological level, right? 250, it's a common number. And if you look on the chart, I don't think, I'm not going to pull it up. I'm just going to look real quick. I don't think 250 is a real chart. I think 268. For me, I have down for Tesla 268. Break that is that'll be officially a breakout above 268. 250 is in the middle of nowhere. Actually, I'll just pull it over because now I'm talking about it a lot. See how 250? There is no. I didn't level anything off. It's right here. Actually, there's no traditional chart level or price action that would determine, 250 is a significant importance. But now that we're using the GEX charts, I know that 250 is somewhat of an interest, right? It's the highest GEX that's out there. Now this is, with your paid subscription, you can customize your own report. Getting back to what's available in this fortnight, I'm going to keep saying that because it's pretty cool. It's up to January 14th, right? And this is not at all limiting you. It's probably more than enough that you'll be able to digest and use and decide whether or not QTA will be right for you. And if you're having trouble along the way, I'm always in chat. If I'm not responding to something, just do the @ symbol @DOC and make sure that it pops up above where you're typing and you select it, and then it'll notify me that there's something going on. Someone had a really good joke about my hairdo or something like that, and I got to check it out. But any questions at all, I'm in chat. Everyone in there is like super friendly as it is too. So just ask the room, and you'll be able to get an answer for sure. But I did mention how we have Tesla part of the feed. If you are a Tesla trader, which I'm sure everyone in here has a little bit of a toe in the Tesla pool for sure, we can pull up the Tesla feed. Now this is Tesla trades on Fridays, unlike the SPY, which is every day. So every expiration you'll see would be that week's Friday, right? So it changes from day to day, but the expiration stays the same. With that being said, the max pain stays static. The max pain is for the week. That will cause max pain is really the least amount of intrinsic value between calls and puts. So that you've seen the maximum pain website. If you're not, I think it's maximum-pain.com. You can go there and you can see how you have all the calls on one side and all the puts on the other, and where they meet, and there's the lowest point of both. That's where max pain is, and they might use a little bit different data to calculate their max pain, so it might be off from this number, but it's the same theory. Scusi. So even though the max pain stays static, the absolute GEX will move based around where the newest data is telling it to. And right here, this is, what is this? 348 today. This is probably the last one of the day. And right there, we see we had a confluence at 240. Now we can back it up. See what happened during the day, because I think Tesla did move today, right? I don't think it was a trend day. I wasn't really watching it much, but we can start off in the beginning of the day. That's the first one at 9:30. I like to look at the first one after 9:30. So the price action was at 241. The absolute GEX was at 240. Not much movement on Tesla. Let me just pull up the chart and see it on real time there. The camera's in the way. Yeah, okay, so we had a big dip at open, and then it hung out. It went down to 236 and then back up, and then it just ranged out at 240. So the absolute GEX is sometimes, I mentioned it, I think I mentioned this in the room, in the public chat, and this is not financial advice. Don't take this as, you could definitely trade this way, but there's been a couple people that they were students of mine that like to do 0 DTE butterflies. I became friends with them. From a school that revolved around 0 DTE iron condors and 0 DTE butterflies. And when you do iron butterflies, you want to pin the close, right? You want to know exactly where it's going to close. The absolute GEX can help you with that. It's not always going to be tried and true, but if you are able to understand or get the inkling that, all right, I have a feeling of this non-directional day with the price action, and then you'll have that in your mind. You could pull up the GEX, and you could see where this might be a good day to do it, because you have such a high GEX mark, a high GEX strike on 240, and you'll have the outliers. They're not even within, they're probably out just about half. So this is at 15,000, and this is around 7.5 or 8,000. So that's always up to your discretion, but you can use it to confirm that you already think that, don't do iron butterflies just on this GEX alone. Please don't take what I'm saying as gospel or gold, but it is a way to use that information in other ways. And today, I was using Apple for their for a trade on Apple, and perfect example. We'll bring up Apple and see how I traded it today. During Apple, I'll pull up the chart first. So, okay, first let's start off with the GEX. Right. GEX. So that in the morning of the GEX, the morning of the GEX, let's see, January 3rd, get the beginning. And we'll just walk through it one by one. So 10 a.m. Oh yeah, it's real quick. Sometimes, because this data is on what other people are doing and what people are entering in the markets and what data is collected, you'll have sometimes an outlier. So if we're going along and we're having this, oh, it's a nice little structure here, nice structure, and then all of a sudden, whoa, what is this? This huge negative GEX thing showed up at the 192, 193 area on Apple. That doesn't really make any sense. It's probably an outlier, and you can confirm that by waiting for the next 15-minute, or in this case, 16-minute feed to come in, and it goes right back to what it was prior. That's just like a fat finger, or however you want to describe it. It's an outlier, right? So what I was noticing on Apple was that there was a lot of higher strikes, mainly that around the 187, almost the 188 mark, and we hit that right at the beginning of the day. I think it was just like 15 minutes after open. And after we hit that, it traced back down. Let's see if I can get an example here. Slide over the chart so you can see it. Right, hit it right in the morning. We trace back down. But you can notice that these high GEX strikes stayed there. It stayed there, and then slowly in the afternoon, there was a move. Wait for it. Here, right here. At 2:30, the 187.5 became confluence. The highest GEX strike, the ABS, and the max pain, right at 187.5. Now, we didn't get there, but it gravitated toward that. And I remember, I think on my Discord, I actually, we can pull it up. I said there, if it holds here, there is more data for Apple to go higher. And it did. It sure enough did. It went from 183 up to just about 185, 184.94. And then this is where you use your data and your tools and your traditional charting and your experience, and you kind of make a decision from that, right? That this is all stock market investing trading is collecting data points, processing them, giving each of them a weighted value, and then conjuring up a decision to be made based on all that data. Just like this conversation is a data point for you, right? You'll take something that I said, you'll give it value, probably like a 0, and then you can use that towards your next decision. So this big run on Apple, and also I had to do a little bit with the Fed coming in at 2 o'clock, capitalized on that run, but it's going to peter out. And that 185, I like that because it came to this resistance line right here. This is where I took a short into tomorrow. I mean, into Friday, but I was mainly in for tomorrow, which leads us into another strategy called shorting the backside. And there's a video on that, and I posted it in public chat that Bryant made. It's a great video on when to really short with a little more conviction than what you're normally used to. You know, you're not. Oh, you know, I feel like it's going to be turning down right now. Let's go for it. And I think Joseph was asking in the chat. He said, "How do you know where the move is already going?" And I kind of misspoke when I said that. If you're, however you got there and had the, if I had an inkling, okay, Apple is in my theory, right? My theory is Apple is going to be going down after today. It's going to continue going down because if we zoom out, when in doubt, zoom out. I know it's a lot of lines, but they each mean something. To me, Apple has a little more to go down to this, the green. Anytime you see a green line on my chart, that's a target line or a profit-taking line. And I have this few white lines here as support. I was expecting support at this line, and I was shorting into the new year. I wasn't shorting Apple. That's right. No, I was shorting Meta, AMD, and Tesla. And I took profit on AMD and Meta because it was the fast money, and I'm not going to say no to fast money. I'm not going to, someone's not going to squeeze out an entire lemon for me, making me a glass of lemonade and say, hey, you want another glass? Hand me that same lemon. I got to work twice as hard to get like a fraction of that juice. So anytime you have, and now it's, my analogies sometimes are way off, but this is what I was going into for the new year. I actually opened the meta short on the 29th, and I'll bring up pictures that, because a lot of people want to know. Some people are just, talking out of their butts. So I took screenshots of it all, and I was shorting meta on the 29th. It was very good, so I held it into the new year. The new year had this down move. If we zoom in on it, it's actually a very beautiful down move bar. And I took profit. I know I had my meta calls, my meta puts up until another couple weeks, but I took this easy money because the premiums I don't think are going to get as good as they were again, unless it went down another 10 points or at least another 5, right? So I took the easy money, even though it was the first day I had to let it run. It was actually the second day that I had the put. So if you get that situation, right? If you ever get in that situation where like, all right, I have a put on, I actually have a put on Tesla for the 29th. It's 170. I know, I'm not misspeaking on that one. I'll have a 170 strike put for the 29th of January, or there's it the 21st. Either one, doesn't matter. But if Tesla has a move that it just completely drops off a cliff, let's say the next couple days, Tesla drops down to like 214 or something like that, I'm going to take profit, right? There's going to be a lot of people that are going to come into the party and say, you know what, a 20-point move down on Tesla in 2 days is a lot. I think we're going to catch this falling knife, and they're going to start buying it up. You're going to have price action go up and then maybe come back down. But my point is that if you have a move that's unexpectedly early, right? So even if you're in 0 DTE on okay, Tesla today, if you had a 237 or a 230, let's say really cutting it at 236, you had a 236 put, and in the morning it drops down to 239, you might be sitting there and you're like, oh, it's so close. I'm going to hold on. I'm going to wait to see what the rest of the day brings. Guess what? The rest of the day didn't bring anything, but you got real close real fast within that first 10, 15 minutes or half an hour, actually. Consider taking profit, right? The easy money is exactly what it is. It's easy and it's money. Why keep working when you got paid up front, right? So if you got hired for a construction job and you were hired, I'm going to pay you $2,000 to do, I want you to do 2 floors, right? And then all of a sudden the guy, he's like, oh, you know what, here's $2,000 real quick. Or here's $1,000 after 10 minutes of work. I'll pay you the rest after your other 9 hours of work. You're going to say, nah, you know what, $1,000 the first 10 minutes, I'm going to go out, enjoy the rest of my day. You take the easy money and you run. I forgot how I got on this topic, and I apologize, but that's usually sometimes one of the more common mistakes is that, oh, it happened so fast and it happened in the first 10 minutes. What could happen with the rest of the 7 hours and 20 minutes that we have left in the day? You know what I mean? There's this thinking like, oh, if it happened that fast, I can't imagine what's going to happen in the rest of the day. Sometimes nothing. Sometimes nothing at all, right? I mean, AMD, the same thing happened to me. AMD, it went, I think I had 125 was my strike in the puts, but for 2 weeks out, this first move was enough for me. I got out, I closed up shop, and I have now free powder to go into other ventures. It's all on how you want to, to consider taking profit, but just always consider taking profit, which leads me back to using GEX. If you have a GEX strike that's, say, 10 points away, and the price action moves 7 points and then starts having trouble, don't think, oh, you know what, the target's definitely 187.5 on Apple. We haven't reached that GEX strike yet, and according to Doc's video, the price action is going to go there, so I'm just going to sit back and wait. Take profit. When you see other things telling you that maybe this might be the point where it's going to have trouble that next few yards, take profit. These are guides, these are data points that you take and use with other data points. These aren't things that are 100%. Babe Ruth, he had a whole lot of home runs, right? A lot of home runs, but it wasn't a guarantee that he would hit a home run when he goes up to the plate. I mean, it's probably a high percentage. It's probably a safer bet than others, but just because it's known to be a a target, it doesn't mean it's a goal, or it doesn't mean that's the finish line. That's more like it. A target is not the finish line. A target is just that. It's something you aim for, right? Like a bullseye. You aim for that little dead center, but you still get points if you get close to it. So keep that in mind when you're using this Gex feed in the next couple weeks, right? Use them as targets, use them as guides, but use your own charts. Use the room. I'm going to be in public chat. I'm going to be in gold chat. I'm always in public chat and gold chat. So if you have anything, reach out. Hey, Doc, I can't make it 5 p.m. today. I have to be on Thursday or Friday. Okay, we can do that. See, there you go. I responded. It's just like that. So really, you know, I don't want to get into too much of trading strategies, because I can go on and on and on. And by the way, if you are interested in learning any type of trading strategy, if you're new to trading and you want to learn charts, you want to learn options, reach out to me. It's doc@oneononestocks.com, or you can hit me up in chat. My website should have been done, but it's not. That's on me. It's oneononestocks.com. And a lot of people use it for refreshers. They want to, you know, I've been trading for 20 years and I just can't seem to get what I want out of it, or I'm slipping lately, or anything like that. We do refresher courses, you know, and everything is tailored. Everything is, for right now, it's still one-on-one. I don't know how long that can really last for, but just reach out, have a conversation, you know, and we'll see if I can help you and if you can help me and all that other good stuff. But I mean, the QTA being offered for the next almost it's 1.5 weeks now, up to the 14th. Just keep that in mind, January 14th. It is a real, you know, opportunity to really try something new. And when I stumbled on QTA back in May, I think it was actually April, either event, when I stumbled upon it, and me and Bryant finally, I was reaching out to him, he was reaching out to me, we kept missing each other, I was changing companies, whatever. When I finally got it and absorbed it, I felt like I was open to a world that was there the whole time. I just couldn't see it. You know, it's almost like putting on like augmented reality glasses, and all of a sudden you start seeing I was going to say goblins, but that's a little too out there even for me. But like, you know, you start seeing things that are there, but you just can't see them. Just like the levels that I was talking about on Tesla. That 250 level is a huge level in the Gex world, in quantitative world. But it's not. I would never draw a line. And okay, maybe as just coming out of the words coming out of my mouth, 250 kind of lines up. 251 would be right here as resistance, and then coming back as support, but not 250. And if we pull up that chart again, I don't have to, you can remember that 250 was a straight outlier, right? Lots of importance to that level. And I would not have marked that on my chart. Speaking of marking on your charts, getting back to the advanced Gex, the way you can really capitalize on that is by using that report that's generated for you right here. It gives you the plots on where to point your lines. So this is your own chart, your own generated report. I think I did one. It must have been Tesla. So if you have TradingView or Thinkorswim, you can import the levels to your charts. So that's what you're going to see when I pull this over. So right over here, Thinkorswim or TradingView. You come here, I think at 8:30 in the morning every day. You'll have the new charts or the new data is processed 8:30 for intraday, and then 5 p.m. on Sundays is the weekly. All you do is click here, you copy it, you post it, you post it on your trading view or your Thinkorswims, and then you have it. You grab yourself a bagel, a little schmear, and you're good to go. Pickety bam. But what I was saying was on the advanced GEX, when you generate your own report, it will give you where to plot the important levels. See right here, the purple, that's your absolute GEX. And on that same level is the strike with the most open interest and the most call open interest. And if that sounds like gibberish to you now, it won't after you get using it for a little while. And then you just make a template, right? So right here, you have positive GEX, and I created templates for all of it. And just like we just went down, we just had the absolute GEX. If I want to make that absolute GEX, I just click the ABS, click OK, and right there is my absolute GEX level. I already had one there. So to change it back, and I think that was oh, it doesn't matter what it was. But just to show you how I did that once. You know, you spent literally, oh, don't say literally anymore, Doc, about 20-25 minutes creating those templates. And now when every time I create a report, it's there for me. And these are the levels that get imported every day or every week. I think these are behind. I didn't import this. Yeah, these are from last week and last Wednesday. I'm always on the website anyway, and on the website they have the chart with all the data already on it. And trading, my God, I'm saying TradingView now. What is going on? So I don't use TradingView as my #1 platform to chart with. That's WeBull. It's just really, it works really well with instruction, especially when teaching spreads and things like that, because the WeBull already has the, they have these. So when you go to options, you can actually select vertical, straddle, iron butterfly, iron condor, and it's just really easy for teaching. So if you're interested in WeBull, check out the description there. There's a link for it. TradingView also, I think I have an affiliate on there. It's like $15 off. I know $15 off 170 is not much, but it is something. And if you want to know more about Quant Trading App, I'm planning on doing this week, at least one more time, and have to do it next week, right? Have to. But I want to do more of these throughout the year, and they're going to be more. They're going to be more hands-on, right? We're going to probably have webinars, right, with open mics, Q&As. We can do workshops where we can share screens. You can show me what you're working on. We can do it like that. So if you use, and I think I put it in chat, right there at the top of chat, that's my link for signing up under Quant Trading App. If you use that link to sign up, just message me and I can include you in if we do private sessions or something like that to kind of work with you. But I do want to have more public things like this, at least during this trial period. But thanks. I mean, if you guys have any questions, type it in there now. But if you haven't already, hit the like button. As far as I know, it helps out with the algorithms, as they say. But I really do appreciate it. Hit subscribe, because I don't do this all the time, and when I do, it's unannounced like this. Like someone was I think it was Dad Trader. He was saying, hey, would it be a cool idea if you could do it after I think you said 3:30, and we made it 5 o'clock. So I did want to go for at least an hour. My throat is starting to go. I was real sick towards the end of the year, but I'm feeling much better now. And I don't know how much longer I got in me, but definitely, come check it out. If you're coming from somewhere else where you've followed me or something like that, you could see me. I'm there all day. So if you wanted to see what I was trading throughout the day, I don't really post my specific trades, but I definitely post setups. And if it's a setup that I'm posting, it's something that I'm looking into, or I'm keeping it on my radar at least. Does anybody have any questions? It could be about how to bake chocolate chip cookies. I don't think I can answer that, but any question will do. I also do want to get into more trading-oriented videos. Like I hear all the kids are talking about this new TikTok thing. No, I'm just kidding. To get into like short videos and get that out there. Like if someone says, you know, what is bullish divergence? Oh, I got a video for that. And then, you know, it'd be 60 seconds or less. I made one. I thought the whole cutoff was 90 seconds. So I thought 90 seconds. I was like, okay, I can show someone how to do bullish divergence in 90 seconds. It was hard. I could not get it below 90 seconds. And when I did, I published it, and then my niece told me, no, well, it's 60 seconds. I was like, well, then forget it. And I'm not really forgetting it. I'm gonna do more videos, but I really wanted to also focus on trading strategies and also the psychology of trading. I dove so headfirst into psychology, the psychology of trading last year, that I've learned so much about myself and about people that I've tutored and coached and taught. There's so many commonalities, and people always think that it's them. Oh man, I have this unique problem where I hold on. I get my target. I keep holding on to the stock because I think it's going to be worth more, and I end up it's worth next to zero. And it's such a common thing that people think that they're struggling alone with this. But the more we find out that we're not alone in these things, the better off we feel. And if you feel better, you trade better, right? If you're going into, and keep this in mind, guys, please. A lot of people say, oh, I don't like holding overnight. And if I do hold overnight, I don't get any sleep. Well, I think the issue there is your risk level might be off. You know, any trade where it could be either really good or really terrible, your risk level is too high. There's a saying that you should say that if it's too much money, that if you lose it, it will be very difficult to come back from, then your risk level is too high. Because a lot of people go into trading, and they'll go into a trade thinking, how much can I make, right? I know I'm risking, you know, say $200. I bought 2 contracts, $100 each, and I can make $1,000 on this one Tesla contract, or these 2 Tesla contracts. But you don't really examine, what if my power goes out and I have no cell phone connection, whatever, and I don't have that $200? Is my day going to be severely affected? Am I going to be able to pay the rent on time? Am I going to be able to buy food for my kids or anything like that? If any of those questions are answered with the answer that we're talking about, then it's a little too high. You should, and I'm not saying go into every trade with money that you can burn. You know, there is some element of risk taking that I was going to say I'm guilty of, but I'm definitely a practitioner of. But it's all about when to cut them out, when to cut out those trades. Using GEX and using QTA has helped me, and at least I can count on one hand at least 5 people that have told me, oh, it's helped me tremendously. How does it help you tremendously? Well, because QTA works with levels, right? And if we just ignore, actually we don't have to ignore, we can, let's just go on one where I haven't. Let's go on NVIDIA. I don't think right, okay, good. So QTA works on levels. This is just the QTA levels. When you break a level or you surpass it, you're going to want to look for a retest of that level, and then you're going to go to the next level. And when you get to that next level, you're either going to look for a rejection or a break and a retest of that next level. It's just level by level, level by level. So take max pain. That's the blue level coming in here. Again, I didn't update it. So take this one level and the green, the buy zone, as another level. We reached max pain and we bounced off of it. Okay, so now that we're bouncing off, we should expect to go back up to the absolute gex level here. Now let's fast forward. When we break this max pain level, we break. In this case, we didn't come back and retested it. We kind of tested it before we broke it. So that's a whole nother strategy to get into. But if we break and a retest, and a test and a break, similarly to a break and a retest, when we break this level, where are we going? We're going down to the next level, the next green level. If I place a trade saying, all right, we broke this level, I plan on holding this trade to this target down here in the green zone. If that doesn't happen and the trade goes against me, my stop limit is this level. Because if it travels back over that, you just kill it. So you can set your stop limit to however tight around that level as you want. Now, I know it sounds like, oh yeah, stop limits. I know how to use stop losses, right? It's a little different when someone provides the levels for you. So if I'm trading Tesla, you're going to know if it's on my chart, because when I turn it on, bam, I already have levels. I thought there was going to be a lot more levels. That's why I made it a little more dramatic in saying bam. But these are all my levels. And sometimes it's going to sound weird, but sometimes you don't trust your levels as much as someone else's. And you think, oh no, it's my levels. I trust my levels the most. But when you're in the action of it and you're like, okay, we broke my level. I'm supposed to get out here. But you know what? Maybe I have this off a little bit. And yeah, you know what? I did. I have it off a little bit. I can push it down to here, make it 228.20, and then it gives me an extra 5-10 cents. And oh, you know what? It broke that level. Let me look further back to the left and find that level. You start negotiating with yourself. And when you negotiate with yourself, you're going to lose. One person always loses in an argument. And if you're arguing with yourself, it's going to be you that loses every time. You also win every time too. But anyway, the point of it is that when these levels are put on here, these QTA levels, these are a little more structured. These come with a little more weight to them. Like I was saying before, that 250 on Tesla, that was something I would never have put on my chart. But these QTA levels, they come from data, and they come from a world where I didn't map it out. So now I have a little more faith in that. It's more hardened. It's more of a rigid, static level. And when you use that for all the reasons that we just talked about, there's a little more trust behind it. And with that, and then one of my strategies that I give in a refresher course for people that have been trading for years, I call it the ITSs, or the insanely tight stops. And it's almost like putting training wheels back on a bike for some people, that if you're just hanging on too long, you have to put insanely tight stops. So what that means is if it goes $1 against you, it cuts you out. You end up having no losses on the day. You might not have any winners, but you have no losers on the table. And that kind of gets you in the thinking like, all right, if I'm using these insanely tight stops, I'm going to wait to place my trade at a more opportune time. So you're helping yourself on both ends. You're helping yourself with the entry, and you're protecting yourself from a loss. After you get acclimated to it, and it's like a horse with blinders. Sometimes you put the blinders on the horse, and the horse does whatever the blinders make that horse do. I guess the blinders eventually come off. Maybe that's a terrible analogy. I should probably investigate what blinders do in a horse before using it in an analogy. But training wheels on a bike, once you get used to, you hike up the training wheels a little more, so you have more wiggle room, more wobble, and then you put them all the way up so they're just there in case you just fall over. Then they come off. That's the idea of certain strategies like that, like insanely tight stops. Using a strategy like that with QTA levels, it becomes more solid. It has more weight to it. It's really the best way I could describe it, because it's not levels that I've come up with. I can't move these levels. That's A1 right there. I can't adjust this level. I can't say, you know what? I'm not trusting this a little more. Let me just move it down 10 cents and then see where it goes. These are rigid. QTA is hard, cold math, right? It's not some guy or some girl who's saying, you know what, I really believe that Tesla is just the worst company. I think they're god awful, and I think it's going to go to $1. And you know, every support line is a support line, but it doesn't have that weight behind it, because in reality, I really think that Tesla's going to go to $1. Now, if anyone takes a sound bite of that, it's going to sound like I think Tesla's going to $1. I don't. I think it's going to go to 170, but that's just my opinion. The idea is that these are hard, solid math levels. There is no negotiation on this. If this level is broken, you should see a come back and a retest, and then we're going to look for this level down here. If it's broken and the retest fails, it starts to come back up, then we're looking at the next level up here, which would have to be max pain. These are all arbitrary levels because I just didn't update it. Hey, you know what? You want to update it right now in real time? We can do that too. So once you get signed on, this would be how you install them. For me, using TradingView, I would go here, I go to weekly and intraday code, and this is not using editing movie magic. This would be real time. We have the weekly. Just click it once, copied. Okay, thank you very much. Very much. Sorry, I really can't speak. My throat is gaining. So, failing. We're going to click open, and we're going to go to new strategy. Now it's going to give a little bit of garbage here. Highlight all that garbage, delete that, Control V, and when you click save, it's going to auto-populate the correct date, and this is going to be the QTA weekly. You don't even have to have the paid version of TradingView. I don't anymore. I had paid version of TradingView with my last company or person I was working with, but no longer. And now let's go back, click on here, the intraday. Now these are going to be today's levels. I'm going to have to come back and do this again for tomorrow. Click open, new strategy. Oh, wait a minute, I didn't add to chart. Is it too late? It might be. Okay. Forgot that step. So we paste it in here. We click save. Now this is going to be the daily, right? Daily. When we click save on that, now I'm going to say update on chart. And the levels get up there. Ta-da. Simple as that. Now I have the intraday levels for today. I have to come back and do tomorrow. The weekly, I messed it up. I added another one, but you get the idea. And that's the long and short of it. And oh man, my throat is on fire right now. I really, man, I really thank you guys for coming in. I'm gonna have to try wrapping this up a little faster than I thought. But definitely try it out. I mean, if you haven't checked out QTA yet, it's something. This is the perfect opportunity to do it. You have access to the GEX feeds, and play around with them. Like I said, use the 0 DTE to go back in time. I mean, use the use the time to go back and test the 0 DTE on the days if you remember a big trade or some or a memorable trade. And also you have Tesla, Apple, Amazon, Microsoft, Nvidia, and the Russell 2000 is on the archive one. Again, those are the weeklies for the archives. The other cool thing is that the SPYs, the SPX, and the Qs, they actually have the 0 DTE, the daily, the weekly, and the next week. So if you're thinking of going a couple weeks out on SPY, you don't have to bring up the advanced gex to generate that report. You can just pop in here and use that for even more confluence. So tools are at your disposal. The community is there for help. I'm there for help. My email is stockdoc2k@gmail.com or doc@oneononestocks.com. That's the email is up and running. I just haven't published the website yet. So any of those or find me in chat. Any of those are good ways to ask questions. And there's always someone there. I know I keep my Discord open. I'm looking at the Discord even when, at night when I'm watching TV or something like that. So if it's late and you think that there's no one there, try it. Reach out. But I do thank you guys. I want to thank you. Hit like and subscribe. As I said, I don't do these often. When I do, it's always last minute. And I really do look forward to working with you in any way that you may need. And if it's about learning charts or options, reach out to me. We'll do some one-on-ones or we'll see what's available for you. If it's about QTA, you can find me in chat on the Quant Trading App. And you'll have to the 14th. So get in there, do some back testing, and ask questions. And try and see if if a trade would have helped you out. Like today, it's still fresh in your head. It's still fresh in your mind. Go use it today and go check it out and see what you would have done different, or anything, or any different, or maybe it supported what you did. So that's even better. But I can tell you the benefits of QTA is more confidence in at least my trades. I have more confidence in my trades. I'm able to say, okay, you know what? I'm in here. I know if I lose this level, I'm going to get stopped out, and that's my target. I can go do some stuff. I don't have to wake up that few hours early and start sifting through, because there's also QTA signals, right? You get the signals to let you know, hey, we reached this 2 sigma level. We should be going the opposite way soon. We'll get into 2 sigma and what those levels mean on the next broadcast. I like saying broadcast. And I'm going to go get some Halls or Ricola right about now. And I really appreciate you guys. I really do. And I'll see you guys soon.